Anyway, there's big fighting game news that happened. You guys saw this? I don't know anything about this IP. There's a few reasons though that why this is cool to me. One, this has the Grand Blue effect, where I don't know shit about the IP, so I don't give a shit what happens to this game. If the game is tight, like Grand Blue in the beginning, I was a big fan of Grand Blue. Great, brand new characters I've never seen in my life. If the game sucks, at least it's not my favorite IP. I don't have to be that invested in it, right? Second thing about it is people have been talking for a while about Arcsys like getting Dragon Ball and then creating Grand Blue and then making games off of new IPs that people are just giving them over and over and over, right? The fact that they're doing something else. With Aiding especially, who worked on a bunch of games that people love, right? Including, I guess people don't love TVC. They all say they love it, but nobody played Tatsunoko versus Capcom unless you're like 40 years old, let's be honest. Marvel 3, though, a lot of people played. So they're working with Aiding, which is really cool. And I looked up the characters and I looked up what the game looks like. First of all, people describe the game. They're like, it's the greatest MMO ever made. It's so fun. I can't believe how cool it is. It looks amazing. The combos are dope. I looked it up and it's like a fucking Flash looking game where you're walking back and forth, right? And you're just like doing these combos and stuff. I was like, okay, well, I maybe like 10 years ago or whatever, it looked really cool, but it looks like a browser-based beat 'em up. Yeah, it's incredibly old. I didn't realize how old it was at all. Anyway, look at this game. That's the monk, right? This is the gunslinger guy. That's also the monk, and that must be the knight. Look at this. This shit looks cool. This is all we know about it, right? All we know about it is that these companies are working on it. We have no information or news or anything like that. The dunk here, boom. Like, the satisfying dunk. And then the gunslinger, Dante. Dante looks cool. The classes in this game, all the classes, for the most part, have like a male and female version, correct? I don't know if they'll have different movesets, but maybe there'd be different skins or something. I'm not sure how it'll work. But that's what made sense to me, right? It looks, visually to me, it looks cool. A lot of people said it looked like Grand Blue, which, yeah, I mean, it kind of, it's all the same sort of style that Arcsys does, which is so funny. I saw someone say, all these Arc System Works games look all the exact same. Like, the games visually are just all the same. And I was like, yeah, it's tight. Like, yeah, I would hope so. They look great. Like, they're very pretty. You know, that thread, I don't want to speak its name into existence. I'll just do a Hail Mary to the Rollbackian gods. There was the thread about hot takes, and I saw someone say like Guilty Gear Strive is very ugly, and I was like, I don't know what to tell you. The UI, sure, but the way the characters look, that's like the one thing you can't make fun of it for. People have been saying for a long time, give them Naruto, give them Bleach, give them Hunter x Hunter. You know, a lot of people brought up Demon Slayer just because it's so popular now, right? It would make sense for Demon Slayer to have it. One Piece, like JoJo, anything. Just give them any popular IP and it would be really good. I mean, like the Dragon Ball FighterZ sales numbers are absurd. It sold incredibly well. Any IP that's even more popular or another game that catches people's attention would make $1 bajillion. I think they know that. It's just, there's only so much the company can work on at once, right? Like, you can't take on 8 fighting games. Like I said, as a fighting game fan, it doesn't matter what the IP is. If Arc System Works makes a dope fighting game, there'll be characters I like no matter what, right? Like, I mean, the characters already look cool. They got Dante, they have Night Lady. How could you forget Night Lady? They got Monk guy with the elbow drop. That was cool. It's a fighting game made by Arcsys. It looks pretty. If the gameplay is fun, you got me. It's an easy sell. Now, you guys bring up the important point. Like, there came a dialogue that I thought was hilarious. Obviously, the first thing that came up is there rollback? Every human on the planet, will there be rollback? Then there is people like, ugh, we can't even have a game announcement without people asking if there's gonna be rollback. And they're all mad and yelling at each other, and I'm just like, oh boy. It's a valid concern. If this game comes out somewhat time next year, for instance, right, you're gonna have to play it mostly online. Think about how Grand Blue Fantasy did as a game that was played mostly online as the year progressed and people lost locals for the game. The game had incredibly high hype when it first came out. Everybody was interested in it. Everybody loved it. I was super interested in it. But as we could only play it online, it tapered down quite a bit. It didn't have a presence, the same kind of presence it would have had if there was offline events. In fact, I feel pretty confident that if there was no COVID, I would have been mostly commentating Grand Blue last year. I feel like it would have been the game that I would have been focused on the most. Now, that being said, consider the reality we live in where the online play is bad. It is unlikely that any of us next year at all, especially in the US, get to compete in offline events, right, for most of the year, if not all of it. So, you know, that's just really how it goes. I don't know how to break it to you, But even when there's not a pandemic, 99% of fighting game matches are played online. The majority of fighting games, and all games really, are played online against other people. That's just how it goes. So even with offline competition, it's super important. If people are asking about rollback in a game that just got announced, they want to play the game. So they're asking if a feature they want is going to be in the game. Anyway, I hope it has rollback. I think most people hope that all Arc System Work games after Strive have rollback. That would be great. If they start game after game after game of popular IPs with good online play, Arc System Works is going to make $1 bajillion. I'll never get back to JoJo. The third part of JoJo drags so bad. It's taken so long. Get to something. Every episode is just, who is the stand user, Scoob? Like Zoinks, it's the ship. Every episode, conflict, stand user with a power we have to figure out. How are you going to defeat this user? And he's like, Star Platinum punches really hard. He's like, oh, he just starts punching. I'm like, that's it? The only thing that's motivating me to finish it is Golden Wind is such a good OST that I want to hear it before an episode.